Okay. So I actually have started recording because it's not formal. Uh, I have started recording because it's just a casual conversation, and I'm gonna have to try and avoid calling you Nzala and all this thing because I need to. I don't know if I'm doing this maybe to even understand myself. Maybe it's for selfish reasons, but
Yeah.
maybe hearing you talk, there's some stuff I'm gonna understand about myself. But let's pick it up from the top. When you
Okay.
speak about Thando, who's Thando, where you're from, and just how like a person who's meeting you for the first time, how do you introduce yourself?
Thando. I usually say the full names, Thando Agape Dube, because
Yeah.
there's some people who don't. They don't know how to pronounce one name or another, or they mispronounce it. So it's the full name. Um, I am an aspiring family physician, and also, um, hopefully, someone who goes into geriatrics and helping people with neurodegenerative diseases. In this case, Parkinson's, dementia, multiple sclerosis, those kinds of things. That's Tando. Tando tries to be a loving, understanding person.
Maybe too loving sometimes.
Yes, maybe too loving sometimes, and at times that often takes advantage of, but still try to give love and understanding. At the same time, still trying to find my own peace, um, and loving myself the same way I would want to give love to everyone else.
Yeah.
And Tando is a herbalist as well. And can't forget that part. And really trying to find a deeper meaning of my relationship with God,
Right.
regardless of some situations that might have deterred that relationship.
Got it. So the first time I will get to know you, but not talk to you, I think I'd seen you at you're still young at City Church, some Pathfinder something. Okay, I knew okay that was Professor Zero's daughter. That was it. But then the very first time that I get to know the time to debate with our cousin, a mutual cousin, calls me. I think you just arrived in South Africa, and you were saying you guys need to connect. At that time, you're not Dr. Dube. You're pursuing something in hospitality, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
Did we have a stint with hospitality?
I do. It's not a love anymore, but I did my first degree was in hotel and restaurant management, which is mainly just learning how to manage hotels and restaurants or
Right.
resorts. I know a lot of people have a misconception to feel like we learn how to cook. I didn't learn how to cook the entire
That's
four
what I thought
years.
all along.
It was really management. So that does play into key with being a doctor now, because you learn how to more say having customer service and managing organizations the way we were
Right.
taught in my first degree. So that still links in with um, medicine that I'm doing now.
And then you wake up one morning and you're like, actually, I'm going to go do medicine. How old were you at that stage and what makes you get there?
My first choice was actually medicine. It
Right.
in the field of medicine, it was more of I really wanted to do sports medicine and rehabilitation medicine,
Okay.
specifically for neurodegenerative diseases. That has always been something I wanted to do because I felt like it was a field that was not understood. There are patients who are not understood, and we lack that the people to help those people in the medical field. But circumstances, being a PK and having to move from place to place, you're given a choice. Okay, we're moving to a different country, so you can't go to your school of choice. And my
Right.
second choice on the list was hotel and restaurant management, and it was in an American school since education was American, and having to switch would have been a problem. So that was my second choice, and I eventually came back to it though.
Right. So I'm going to go a bit forward and then come back because for a very long time, you and I have been twinning in the sense that our fathers both had, well, Parkinson until my father then passed away in July of this year.
Mm.
So, But that's how I guess we get in a way closer, because then I can speak to somebody who understands. I don't have to explain myself in a way.
Mm.
I want to just go all the way back with you. At what point do you realize, before you even know it's Parkinson's, at what point do you realize dad is not well?
Hmm. Maybe can't really pinpoint a time, but he would say there's something wrong, there's something wrong with me, um, and but you never used to see it because he still kept being the jolly person, the 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 preacher, the professor who's
Yeah,
still communicating and doing as well with other people. So I never really saw that. I think it was when because I was away for most of the time when he was first diagnosed. It's when now that we're having to travel to different countries to um, different doctors, a number of doctors. um, I remember him coming to South Africa. I was in South Africa at that point, and we literally walked, I think, like 10 Ks because there were no taxis that actually went to that hospital. So we'd had to drop far, and we didn't want to take a cab, a beta taxi, because that would have been way more expensive.
right.
So we took taxis, dropped far, and then walked looking for that place. I think that's when I realized, okay, no, dad is not okay, because he's really trying to look for help to explain what he's feeling, and he didn't understand what he was feeling or going through. So it was, yeah, I think that was the point.
At that stage, are you studying medicine already, or you're not there yet?
No, I wasn't there yet.
Right.
Um, I think I had moved to SA because my degree was not appreciated where my parents were living, and I had left where I had studied in Kenya,
Okay.
where it's a huge thing. And then coming to Zambia, Zambia is didn't have any degree holders in that field, so that
Right.
was it was a negative force towards me because it's this young girl. Who does she think she is? She thinks she knows better. You're trying to implement changes or suggest things, and people who've been in the field for a long time who don't know some of the concepts that you've learned, and there's so much negativity towards that. So moving to
Right.
SA was to try and find if I could actually do that there and find something there, because even every other country that I was trying to do that with, it was not being met with the positivity I'd hoped to find in East Africa or in the States or
Mm.
anywhere else.
Right. So now we get to a point where then you do get the diagnosis as Parkinson's.
Mm.
Do you understand what it is? I know you had said you'd had previous, like before you did the hospitality thing, you'd had interest in going into medicine, probably towards those kind of diseases as well. But did you fully understand what this actually then meant for you, first as a daughter, or for him, or as a family? Or it was like, oh, wait, let me first read about this.
Mm, no, it was. I think I'd heard about it. I remember Ukulu Chuma. I don't know if you remember him.
A big
We
reference
knew
point
he
for
had,
me as well.
yes, yeah. We knew he had Parkinson's. I think you've heard about it from Muhammad Ali, the boxer, but not many people. And what was scary for me was seeing Ukulu Chuma go through that. I remember like having to see Ukoko feeding him, bathing him, dressing him, and you could tell the pain in her eyes. And
No.
for me, it was scary because it's like, oh, is this what we're going to go through? And how long is it going to take? And I remember, in some extent, people were now saying, no, he's just faking. So
Mhm.
that was painful. There were also other perceptions of his health. I think just people not understanding, you know, saying, okay, no, it's probably HIV, or
Mm.
no, this is just faking, or this is witchcraft. So many ideas about it, which just didn't help. So it was really scary because I hadn't gotten into medicine yet. So I didn't really fully understand. Even the support groups that were there that were suggested to join, you're not getting that. Yeah, to
That
you're not
thing.
getting yeah, that thing to
Yeah.
just understand. See, what am I going to go through and how is it going to change? You're just seeing one person who you've known and it's
Mm.
bad, and now you're just like, oh gosh, how are we going to handle
How
this?
can handle this? But
Yeah.
do you have a conversation as a family? Let's just say with your mom and your sibling, and your dad to say, okay, we've got this new reality, or you guys just watch it as it unfolds and take it as it comes.
There was no conversation to really have at the time because the changes were not obvious.
Right.
I think the only first things was he already had a small handwriting, but it became smaller. And dad writes in cursive. So when it became smaller, it became harder to read. And you're like, oh, dad, what did you write here? And he's like, I wrote this. Can't you see it? I think
Like, no, I can't see it.
those were the that was the major change at the beginning. And then it was also his diet. He was already vegetarian,
Yeah.
but then there was a switch to him being vegan, to being raw vegan. That was the changes really at the beginning. There wasn't that obvious. I think also because there was kind of a shield because I wasn't there.
Right.
Um, I was I'd come visit and go back, come visit, go back. At some point, being in Europe, and then you're there for a longer time before having to go back home. So you don't really. There wasn't that thing to really
So you'd
show.
hear about, oh, this is what's
Yeah.
happening, but you can't
Yes,
relate.
but you wouldn't understand. I think the one person who was seeing it happen was my mom, but all her kids are away. So she'd just be like, "Oh, this happened," and you're just there like, "Oh, okay," like because you can't see it. So and then oh, maybe the other changes would be, dad was always very bubbly and outspoken, and that started to reduce.
Right.
Even the conversations became shorter, and it was like, okay, maybe he's tired, or and
Mm,
the medication, the side effects. So you just pass through it.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
So you come back from Europe, and now you're there. You're not
Mm,
hearing about this thing. You're there and you're seeing. So when you initially come back, and now you have to put it 24/7 on. I mean, you're seeing it most of the day. What
yeah.
does that feel like for you? Because now it's not about the phone anymore. It's not about what mom says. You're witnessing this, and now you studied medicine as well, so you understand this thing very, very well. What is that moment like for you?
It was. I think it started. We had a little family vacation at some point whilst I was still studying,
Yeah.
and it was. I think it was after he had already had his deep brain stimulation DBS surgery, so the tremors were not obvious. Um, but then he was already taking the medication. He had just come from review,
Yeah.
so it was okay. No, this person is not the person I know. But you're like, okay, he's still there because we still went and did some stuff together, some activities together. Like I think he's a daredevil. So we went on the dance and those speed cars and everything. He was just enjoying that and all kind of stuff. So it still felt like, oh, dad is there. But then now when I come back, for good, because I hadn't been home in such a long time, it was like, oh, okay, uh, okay, this is dad, but who is this person? Um,
Right.
the my dad and I would sit and talk for hours, and it's now 5 minutes.
Mm.
Um, and he's like snappy. He's not this person you grew up knowing, this jolly person you could just go to and talk about anything. And I do mean anything. If there's
Yeah.
some advice I got from my dad I'd never get from my mom. So
Right.
it was like this person is just slipping away from my fingers. And that relationship is it's slowly ceasing to exist. And you have to time the times where you're going to have intimate time with this person that you didn't have to do that before. The abilities, you know, he was always an independent person. I think even now he's an independent person who wants to do things by themselves by force.
Yeah.
He's stubborn, but they can't do that anymore. I grew up with a
Right.
dad who would make his own breakfast. He'd clean the house, iron clothes, do everything, and now he can't. You have to do that for him. It's like
Right.
it was this. It still is this hole in the
Hmm.
heart where it's like, okay, I wish that person was still around, but they're still around, but they're not around. It's
Right. And for a lot of us,
trying.
that's difficult to actually comprehend because it's like, what do you
Yeah,
mean?
it's emotion. I think. Oh, I feel like crying now. Actually,
Oh,
even now, even now, you're like, oh, okay, he's still there, but it's like I wish you. It's a constant wishing of, I wish the person I knew was still there, but you just have to make peace with it, and from day to day there'll be little accidents because they're slowly losing power over their body.
right.
And there's a time I was like, oh, how do you feel? And he said, my body is here but my mind is very strong.
Oh,
Like, I can't communicate what I'm
yeah.
feeling up here with the rest of my body. And that was really painful because it's like, okay, what can I do as a doctor? What interventions can I do? And studying in Ukraine, they didn't always base on Western medicine for therapy
Right.
and treatment. They opened up our minds to, oh, you guys in Africa have a lot of herbs that we import, which are helpful for every disease. You just have to know when to give, how to give, and all kind
Right.
of stuff. And I've always had a love for herbs and herbal medicine, so it was also trying to, okay, I'm really trying to help this person because I want them that themselves, you know. So I'd do that just to. But yeah, it's a continuous, hectic, sometimes depressing. Okay, most times
Yeah.
depressing. But you you look for the little joys,
Right.
the little laughs. Um, he's always like, "Ah, he is such a troublesome daughter," because I'll come and just poke him. I'm just checking if you're still here, and he'll laugh because they said laughter is medicine, and
Yes.
that tends to help because even with Parkinson's patients, they have high moments of depression. And I think most times we look at the disease and we don't look at the person,
Yes.
and we end up forgetting the person. Um, so it makes them feel more alone than
Right.
within a family or a community.
And in this case, this person is dad. It's dad.
Yeah.
Now, my question for you is, because, well, from my experience, the Thando that people would experience when they see you maybe when accompanying your mom with him to the hospital, a Thando that you present in front of him and your mom. I want to know about the Thando in your bedroom when the doors are closed at night. What's that? What does that look like?
The Thando in the bedroom. Yeah, that's a hard one. That's
Yeah.
being vulnerable. It's a Thando who cries by herself and to God, because you're really trying to understand, and it's the only space I have to be vulnerable in myself, because even with mom and whatever, you can't be that vulnerable. Worse off being a doctor, it's like, oh no, you understand this disease, or you're not supposed to have, there's always this misconception that you can't feel.
Yeah.
um I think in 2021, you were there and you saw, like, when he was at death's door,
Right.
and it was the scariest moment of my life. And it was like, okay, I can cry in the room.
Aw.
But once you walk out the door, it's, oh no, yeah, so what are we doing? And it was talking to the doctor and being all professional and all kind of stuff. And at some point, Dr. Mashitisho actually pulled me to the side and said, it's okay, you can cry.
Because you're being matter of fact about it. You're just like, what are
Yeah.
we supposed to do?
I was. And I think that still plays a role now, because it's like you'll hear mom saying this and pouring out on how she feels, and it leaves very little room for you
Right.
to actually say, this is actually how I'm feeling. um this is actually depressing me, this is worrying me, this is, whatever. Even if there's a cough, I'll just, oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah, so I think we need to do this. There's no, oh my gosh, dad, oh, I'm so worried. Like, you can't even show that part. You can't even, oh no, you're in pain. I'm in pain because you're in
Yeah.
pain. But in the bedroom, it's just me. And
Right.
that's a room I have made sacred for myself.
Right.
I've even made sure that my bed sheets and stuff are white because I don't want anyone to go into
Go
that.
in there.
It's a calming color, because outside that door, it's strong, independent, doctor,
Right.
caregiver, whatever. But behind that door, I'm just by myself, and I'm, okay, God, this is how I feel.
Right.
Are you
I'm
taking
gonna
it?
push you just a tad bit.
Mm.
I know I'm pushing it here, but I think you and I have also had conversations about how this disease also, like, it moved into our dating space. And we also had to make some decisions there. I don't know, maybe in a way it may have caused daddy issues. I don't know. But what does that look like for you? How has this disease encroached into this space that's supposed to be lovely, where we're supposed to be finding the love of our lives, getting married, and.
Yeah.
I know.
Ah, there's something my dad always told me.
Yeah.
He said, when you're looking for um, someone you have to date, look for someone who is better than how I ever treated your mother.
Mm,
So your vantage point is me, but higher.
right.
So it's it's always been like that, but now with the Parkinson's, it was, I now have to include a person who is going to accept
Mm,
me and my family, because angithi ngesizulu say umthwalo wami.
yes.
That's umthwalo wami. It's a bag I have to carry everywhere.
And you can't
Now,
just drop it.
no, you can't drop it. And I
Yeah.
think we joked about it at some point and said 87s are the caregivers of their families. I think no,
Hmm.
maybe not just 87s, maybe around the 80s, people born around
Yeah.
those years are the caregivers of the family. And so it's like, okay, this is mine. And any person who's come into my life, it's, oh, okay, you're interested. Just know that I have uh, a bag I carry with me anyway, and I have a big family. So how are you going to? And most some people. I remember I dated someone, and they really did not. They thought this he dad needs help because he uses a stretcher, sometimes a wheelchair. I mean a walker,
Mm.
and it's like, oh, this is so much work. And all I said was, one day you're going to have a sick father and you're going to understand.
Mm.
But I think already for me, as much as that was a long term relationship, that was showing me that this is not the person to stay with
Right.
me long term. Because I need someone who's going to understand that this is an important element of my life. Whether I marry you or not, I can't drop this important element of my life because I'm here Nyikanje kuDr. Dube because
Yeah.
of these people. Because even through sickness, dad still made sacrifices to make sure that I finished my medical degree. He's he's still making sure I'm about to graduate from my specialization.
Yay. Yay.
So he made sure this. He's still making sure to a point of even helping me with my thesis. So why would I be with a person who can't understand that I'm where I am now because of this person? And I think that's probably why I'm still single. I'm enjoying it, but I'm still single.
Yeah.
Because I need that. My dad accepted my mother and her family and her extended family and took care of them to a point where even now they can come home. This is their home. It's not.
Right.
It doesn't feel like a stranger's home when they come in. It's this is our space too, and I want that.
Mm.
And I think it's in a way it's a blessing and a
Right.
curse because then you see people for who they really are,
Right.
not
Yes.
what they want you to see.
Ooh.
Mm.
Actually, what she's speaking about, I know I struggle with a lot of people who, for them, it was casually, but why are you not married? Why are you not? And I fail to explain to them to say, you know what, that's not on the top of my list right now. When I go to bed, the last thing I think about is Parkinson's. When I wake up,
Mm.
the first thing. So in as much as I was not staying at home with my parents, but it was constantly on my mind. And for me, it was always a case of, okay, the person that I would probably take, are they still able to see that this is my dad? Will they be able to respect him as my dad still? And
Yeah.
this disease also comes with a lot of responsibilities. Will we be able to still freely, help and give the help that's needed? What does that conversation look like? I couldn't reconcile those things, so I put that on a backseat. And I think for some people it was like, yeah, but time is flying. You're getting older. I'm like, yeah, I think you won't get it. You won't get it until you're in the situation where you know
Yeah.
that the only thing that takes priority is this thing. But this is my father.
Yeah.
Can you stand it? Now, the question that I also have for you is how does this affect your spiritual life? We're both pastors' kids. I mean, verses, that's our thing. But I know I struggled.
Mm.
I still do, even after dad's dead. How did it affect your spiritual life? Or does it rather, how does it affect your spiritual life?
Ah, I think in the beginning there was a lot of negativity around the diagnosis
Mhm.
with the community that you would expect to uplift you and hold you down.
Mm.
And already I had a lot of questions that were being unanswered. And then coming with the diagnosis, it just bulldozed everything out of the way. Um, and I had to learn to rebuild my my spiritual life with God and not the church.
Right.
Because um, I felt I was truly disappointed by the church. Now it is way better. I understand things from a different perspective and I know who to call on or two, um, in times where I don't understand. So it was low, 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 low. But now yeah, it's built up. I think it's even better now than it was before.
Okay.
Having to separate your personal relationship and uh, your relationship as part of the church or the community or whatever. It's
Right.
more important one on one than, okay, I am here. This one has to come and pray so that I can be here. And no, no, just
Right.
straightforward.
Then also, how do you deal with spiritually? Where remember we were taught that you pray, God answers. Oh, I mean, there's a great physician. You're a doctor, so you understand the physician thing better.
Mm.
So, what does it feel like where you feel like, but we've been praying for years, family has been praying for years, maybe some church people have been praying for years, and we don't seem to be getting maybe the answer that we want, which is who should be healing, or getting my dad back the way that he used to be. How do you maneuver around that?
it's it's been very hard to maneuver around that, if I can say, because yo, you sing that song, ne? You sing it every day, but you don't see change. And it's like, okay, what prayer am I not praying
Right.
to to get this prayer answered? What words am I not saying? Like, you see other people heal and you're like, okay, what have they done different? What what have they said? To a point where you're even asking for, can you help me with the words you said so that it can be better for like our prayer becomes answered so we can see some change. And it's a law. There's no other law you see than feeling like your prayer is not answered.
Yeah.
But I had to listen to someone who said sometimes we focus too much on one element of the prayer being answered. We forget that there are other elements around that prayer that are being answered.
Right. Right.
And when I look at it, and also thinking about it as a doctor, there are some diseases that are progressive. You can't
Right.
stop some of them from continuing their progression, but there are some things that are wins. Um, I know at
Mm.
some point, Dad really fought with depression, and now it's not as bad.
Yeah.
There are other elements of his health which were bad, and it's not we're not seeing that anymore. Of course, there's some things we struggle with.
Yeah.
The dyskinesia, which is like the slowness he's walking. Um, but to see him moving around with his walking frame and not asking for the wheelchair,
That's a
and
win.
oh yeah, it's a big win. It's a big win. And even seeing him moving from the chair to the fridge to get something for himself, it's like, oh, you did that. Okay. So
Right.
you learn to praise for the small. Kubonga okuncane, kubonga okukhulu. You you
Yes.
you're grateful for the small. You're grateful
Right.
for the big. Um, like in 2021, where he lost all his ability.
Mm.
He couldn't even eat for himself, couldn't dress himself, he couldn't go to the toilet. Like, he had to learn from scratch to walk, to hold a fork, to uh you look back and you're like, that was cool, look here.
Yeah.
This is an improvement. I think that's where now you still seeing the great physician now is here. Of course, you'll still have those elements where you're like, I will pillar. Just answer that part also, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's enough, but I think you just have to be grateful for the small little blessings that come along.
So it changes
That
your perspective totally on the whole faith matter. Now, I think we're going to go almost towards to the end, but there's a question I wanted to ask you on. I watched my mom um, at my dad's funeral. Of course, I think she knew this, but I think I'd never said it to her. But it was like I see you, and I see what you've done. I don't know if I would be able to do that, right?
mm,
If when talking to your mom now, conversations maybe that you've never had, because I mean, we are in pain, but the other spouses definitely. What is the I see you that you'd say to her?
there's a time I told her, I hope one day I have the strength to be the Proverbs 31 woman that you are.
Right,
Um, now in the dating scene, you finding that person that is just as supportive.
mm.
It's so hard. Like today they'll be supportive, they disappear, they ghost, and then
Ghost
6 months later they're back.
and you're like,
But you're
oh, you're
seeing,
alive.
oh yeah, like oh, I totally forgot to when I
Yeah,
exist. But you see, those ones are she's day in day out, even on bad days, even if she feels like yo, this is enough, like I need to get out, she's still there. And I would thank her for showing me that I think that okay, no, love comes in different forms.
yes,
And as much as there's this pressure, hey, you should get married, and it's a song every week, but you it's like, okay, thank you for showing me that I shouldn't settle, because if I
yes,
settle, I won't enjoy what you have enjoyed. It's
right,
hard being a caregiver, but you still have your person next to you, as much as it's not the person you knew.
right.
Like sometimes you see them having their internal jokes. Oh, it's annoying because sometimes you feel guilty they're laughing at you, and it's like, but it's just, I think she has made peace with anything
Mm,
can happen. But I've not been quite sure. I think because she has such a big support system from her sisters,
mm,
how I would be like a positive element in that.
right,
Yeah. So it's still something that needs to be built up. See, can I be what she needs to be?
right. When the
Yeah.
time
Because
comes, you'll figure it
yeah, when
out.
the time comes, because some conversations are hard. You're like, okay, I can't have that conversation. That's my dad. It's like, and she really wants to have it. Like, you have sisters for that. Please don't do that to
Mm,
me, kind of
right,
thing. But yeah, I think it's something that needs to be built up to say, okay, we're at this place now. How do we move forward?
right.
Hmm.
You said something at the very beginning where with Parkinson's we watch our loved one like literally lose themselves, they become a different person.
Hmm.
But what are you saying to zero, the one that you knew, not the one that you feel you've lost or you're losing every day?
I'm constantly thanking him.
Right.
Um, you know, the other day he goes, Kanti, you don't have a boyfriend. That's like, I was like, standards, dad, standards. You set a high bar. I
Yeah.
can't now go below that bar. And he just laughed and he's like, you and your cousin. uh, it's still trying to keep the conversations lighter, but making
Right.
sure he knows that I appreciate, I am where I am because of you, and I still see you, like you're still dad, and obviously even now it's more of dad. You have to listen to me because I know better in that field than you do. It's a fight, but it's mostly gratitude, which
Right.
makes it smile most of the time.
And then what are we saying to maybe families or even daughters specifically, because I'm more on the daughter issue. who
Mm.
have parents that have been sick with some long-term illness, and maybe they don't have spaces where they can speak about it. Maybe they do also have tears that nobody knows about.
Mm.
Some have lost faith, some have lost faith. It's just like kuningi nje. What would you say to them? Considering your experience.
I'd say you're not alone. Um, I think it's we haven't uh, really had that push to have communities where we can openly come and talk about such
Mm,
things. But I'd feel like we need to build that up, and just prompting them to see past, as much as it's hard, see past the disease and
yeah,
see the person. Like, just try sit and hear them out, and then come and cry to some of us who have experienced it for a long
yeah,
time. If you can't cry alone, come, let's cry together. It can be such a lonely journey,
yes,
a misunderstanding journey. But I think if we maybe not facing the same disease, but if we can do it together, it would be much stronger and know how to
right.
deal with it. Mm.
And then Thando, the young one, who never ever thought this would be her life. What are we telling
Yeah,
you, Thando?
I tell her, wake up.
Yes.
It's time to wake up. And I think that realization came also when my dad was like, "You used to be such a jolly, outgoing,
Yeah,
opinionated, strong person. Where is that person?" And whenever he sees me being that person, it brings a smile to his face.
yeah,
So I'd tell her, "Okay, can you get back here? It's time now. Can you come back? It's
yeah.
time." Mm.
Get it together.
Yeah,
All right. So closing. Putting myself here. What do you have a question for me? One question, just one question.
just one. How
Yeah,
are you doing?
I'm not okay.
Hug.
I'm not okay.
Yeah,
But it's one day at a time.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
we've
is.
had this journey for a very long time, so we know we always survive. It's painful now, but yeah, I'm not okay. I'm not supposed to be crying when you're tanned, but I had tissues.
I'm sorry. You've also made me cry.